Tonight on DC News Now at 9, the final stretch, the presidential candidate hosting their closing argument on the National Mall. How many are expected to turn out as a popular annual event is happening nearby? And the outbreak, it expands. More people hospitalized from those contaminated McDonald's burgers with E. coli. The latest information from health experts. Plus, standing up for kids, the anti-bullying initiative in Virginia aiming to make school life a little bit better for all students.
And some chilly weather overnight tonight as a new cold alert has been posted by the National Weather Service this evening. I'll talk about what it means and who it affects coming up.
And we're stretching your dollar from grocery savings at 3 popular local supermarkets to the Thanksgiving meal deals at a discount store. We're finding you ways to save.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good Saturday evening. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Ben Dennis. We begin tonight at the district. Police are investigating a stabbing in Northeast that happened overnight. Officers on patrol found a man who had been stabbed on H Street around 2 a.m. The victim was sent to the hospital for his injuries. No word on his condition at this hour. Meantime, police say that they have now identified the 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed yesterday afternoon in Southeast. Police responded to Langston Place around 4:15. It's there they found Darren Johnson, another man who was shot. Johnson was taken to the hospital where he later died. No word on that man's condition this evening. That investigation is ongoing. And staying in D.C., police are investigating a deadly shooting in Southeast that happened today. Officials are looking for this gray car connected to the shooting on Alabama Avenue that happened around 3:30 p.m. It's there they found a man who was shot. He died at the hospital. Anybody with information asked to call police. And over in Maryland, officials in Prince George's County are investigating a fire outside of a home in Capitol Heights. You can see the damage to an outdoor garage and shed there near the intersection of Earn and Vine Streets. Thankfully, nobody was reportedly hurt. Well, new tonight, the National Park Service has approved a permit for the Kamala Harris campaign to host an event at the Ellipse near the White House. The event is scheduled for Tuesday night. It is expected to bring thousands of people. DC News Now's Christian Pena joins us from the Ellipse where preparations are already underway.
Vice President Kamala Harris is set to speak on the Ellipse Tuesday night, and security is at the top of some people's minds as preparations kick off.
I think this could become chaotic because a lot of people got a lot of different views, and it's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
I worry about what people who don't support her would do to her supporters or try to disrupt.
The campaign expects Tuesday's event to host up to 20,000 people to the National Mall. The last time a major political figure spoke on the Ellipse was then President Donald Trump on January 6th, the day insurrectionists flocked to the Capitol.
I could not believe that happened in my lifetime.
According to the event permit approved by the National Park Service, overnight security is employed to ensure the setup remains in place, a relief for some tourists who praise the National Mall for its peaceful environment.
It's pretty secure now, so I mean, I guess if it had the same energy, it should be good.
Tuesday's rally kicks off at 7 p.m. and is expected to end roughly around 8 p.m. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is expected to hold a rally in the swing state of Pennsylvania at 7 p.m. For now, reporting at the Ellipse, I'm Christian Pena, DC News Now.
All right, thanks to Christian. Over to your weather now. Meteorologist Scott Sumner. Scott, you said it at the top. It's going to get a little bit brisk out there for some of us.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a second. Right now, though, not too bad. 60 degrees outside. Bend, partly cloudy skies are being seen. And we'll see quickly, though, over the next couple of hours, that 60-degree temperature fall through the 50s. So after the midnight hour, we're into the 40s. Now, 3 o'clock, 49 degrees here expected in D.C., but just outside, maybe about 40 miles or so from the northwestern portion of our viewing area here from D.C., you are under a frost advisory. Now, that's going to kick in at 3 o'clock in the morning and will run to 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So 3 till 9, this is an area that is expected to get down into mid-30s, and frost should be seen, if certainly not on the windshield on the grassy surfaces. Now, tomorrow night, going into Monday morning, we also have a freeze watch in effect for areas like the district, and the same places that will see the frost advisory tonight will be under that same freeze watch. So we'll be watching all of that, a little bit of a chill over the next 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, mostly quiet though through this week, and we'll have a gradual warm up by midweek if you don't like all those cool temperatures I'm showing you right now. We'll talk about that warm up and when it arrives coming up in just a bit.
All right, Scott. Meantime, we are also tracking that deadly E. coli outbreak tied to McDonald's quarter pounders. Well, it's growing. Health officials say at least 75 people got sick in 13 states. One person died. 22 folks were hospitalized. The FDA says it was raw chopped onions on the burgers that are likely the source, coming from a California farm, which has already issued a voluntary recall. McDonald's confirmed the onions were sent to one distribution point and used in several restaurants involved in the outbreak. All right, more fallout for And Pizza after it created a controversial dessert referencing late D.C. Mayor Marion Barry and his drug use back in the 90s. Even though the CEO apologized days after the dessert marketing ad, protesters gathered outside the store's U Street location just yesterday. And Pizza, of course, sparked that outrage after promoting their Marion Berry Knots, a dessert covered in powdered sugar, and their promo made several references to substance abuse. The pizza chain pulled them off the menu after that backlash from community members. Well, developing now, Montgomery County police have arrested 8 people allegedly connected to an organized crime ring. Investigators say the Romanian crime group are connected to a series of burglaries that targeted homes and commercial properties in several counties, including Moco. They say Thursday night officers spotted the suspect car near a home that had been broken into several times lately near Laytonsville. Investigators tracked the group as they went to another home in Clarksburg, into a Wawa location. That's where police finally arrested the crew. They face multiple burglary-related crimes. Well, now to a candlelight vigil in D.C. It's remembering 25-year-old China Crawford, who was last seen a year ago on Capitol Street in Southwest. Since then, a woman, LaShawn Washington, has been charged with her kidnapping and her murder. China's body, though, has never been recovered, and family and friends at that vigil pled for anybody with information to come forward.
1 year, that's a lot. We have dealt with a lot of stress, a lot of depressed, sleepless nights. It's like we really can't move on at all.
We just want to know where's China. That's it. That's all. Any information that you could possibly have that will help us, we would gladly listen.
Family members say LaShawn Washington was a, quote, acquaintance of China's. She is being held without bond and is set to go to trial next year. Well, in Northern Virginia, a now confessed gang member arrested in connection to a double murder that happened in August. The teenager that's been charged, they've been charged with one of the killings in Sterling. Our Max Marcilla has the latest on that investigation.
The arrest sends a strong message that violence in Loudoun County will not be tolerated.
At a Friday news conference, Loudoun County Sheriff Mike Chapman announcing a major arrest. 18-year-old Marlene Medrano Ortiz, who Chapman says self-identified as an MS-13 gang member, is charged with second-degree murder and a double homicide that happened in late August. It left 22-year-olds Mijal Conero Romero and Diego Alexander Willette dead. It was nearly 2 months ago, right here in this Sterling parking lot, where detectives were gathering evidence trying to piece together exactly what happened. Now, Sheriff Chapman and Commonwealth's Attorney Anderson say they do know what happened and that will come out in court. But as for what they told us today, well, all they said was it was an altercation that led up to the double killings. We don't know what started it, we don't know what escalated it, and we don't know if the two parties knew each other.
The motive behind the murder that we just made the arrest for, we're still working on that. We have to, it's an ongoing investigation. There's very little that we can say.
Another question unanswered. Why Medrano Ortiz is only charged with one count of second-degree murder when this has been investigated as a double homicide. Chapman says the charge is connected to Conero Romero's death and more charges could be coming.
At this point in time, that's what he is charged with. That may change before we go forward with the preliminary hearing.
This is an ongoing investigation, as I mentioned. There were potentially others involved. We're still looking into all those aspects of it as we go.
Medrano Ortiz was arrested in Alexandria on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Chapman using this Friday press conference to highlight concerns with MS-13.
It seems to me as though they're starting to pick up again, and that's what really concerns me.
Reporting in Loudoun County, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
All right, switching gears, thanks to Max for sharing that story. The nonprofit Stars Performing Arts hosted their annual anti-bullying walk today in Alexandria. Participants walked across the Monroe Street Bridge to bring awareness to bullying and to understand the root causes of it. One organizer says events like these give kids a pathway to become better members of the community.
Kids, learning at a young age to the adults, really, just really asking about and figuring out what kind of character are they really doing and portraying in this world that we live in today.
The walk also included games and giveaways. Well, in Maryland, Montgomery County Police, they congratulated a group of women for graduating from their Voces Importantes Domestic Violence Conference. It empowers survivors of domestic violence through a series of workshops over the past few weeks. As part of this so-called graduation, the women received hats of strength, symbolizing their journey of overcoming challenges and embracing self-growth. Can't go wrong with that. All right, happening tomorrow, one of the largest marathons is happening in the DMV. Thousands of Marines, veterans, and supporters are in town for the Marine Corps Marathon. There's going to be about 23,000 runners expected from 50 states, and more than 60 charities are partnering to raise money for causes ranging from medical research to military support and education. This is the 49th year for the race, and the route will offer new views of the monuments.
I think changing up the route is a fantastic idea, especially for our group who runs it every year. A change in route, it takes your mind off the pain.
DC police are warning drivers, though, be cautious tomorrow. There will be several streets closed for the race. For full lists, go to our website, dcnewsnow.com.